Hello, I'm Hope Witkowsky of Senior Scene. You've heard the statement that a dog is man's best friend. Well, there's a lot more to that statement. You will soon see all the wonderful things that these animals can do. They're often referred to as man's best friend, and on today's Senior Scene, we find out how true that phrase really applies. They are dogs of various breeds, sizes, and personalities. Some become our guardians, others just a companion, and in some rare cases, lifesavers.
A lot of my things deal with mostly mobility issues, and Kaylin basically helps me in my everyday activities. For example, if I have to go somewhere and I need to get the elevator, Kaylin with his nose will push the elevator button for me. He can close a drawer. Also, anything that is dropped or placed on the ground, Kaylin can get for me. For example, if I drop my cane, my gloves, even if I drop money like a coin, Kaylin can pick it up.
Ron and his dog Kaylin have been partners for 4 years. Kaylin is a 6.5-year-old Labrador and Golden Retriever mix. He's been helping Ron live a normal life despite his disabilities.
He's allowed public access, for example, in restaurants, hotels,
Sure.
banks, etc. And we want them to be very well behaved. If he would run up to people in a restaurant that are eating at a table, that would really disrupt them,
Yeah.
and people would complain to the management, and we wouldn't be allowed to bring the
That's
dog in
true.
anymore.
That's true.
But if he's attentive to me and doesn't bother anybody, in fact, he'll go under the table and you won't even know he's there.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't want people in public to start petting him, because he'll lose his focus and he won't be able to really do the things that I need to assist me.
Ron's disability caused him to seek canine companions for independence help in getting a dog. Being so pleased with this help, he went on to become a speaker for the organization. He's always ready to show people who have never seen these dogs in action do their job.
There are basically 4 types of dogs that Canine Companions for Independence actually trains. The first is called a service dog, and that helps disabled people in their daily activities. The second is called a facility dog, and the facility dog works with a facilitator in health facilities, educational facilities like hospitals and schools, and assists the professional in their daily activities with children and adults, whatever they happen to be doing. The third type of dog is called a companion dog, and that is a dog that will service either an adult or child, and the companion dog is aided by either the parents or guardian or caregiver, because the person that's disabled doesn't have enough mobility to deal with the dog themselves, and that's called a companion dog. The final dog that they do train is called a hearing dog, and people that have hearing disabilities, for example, the dog will nudge them when they hear the doorbell, alarm clock, telephone, etc. So those are the 4 main type of categories that Canine Companion for Independence trains dogs for.
These service dogs are trained to do just about anything a human can do, from picking things up off the floor to turning on the lights at a home.
I'll drop my glove on the floor, and it really is difficult for me to go get that. Now you notice that the dog is very attentive about what goes on, but he does not do anything until he's given a command. And that's very important because it shows how well trained these dogs are, and that I know I can depend on this dog 100% of the time to do things that I need. Kaylin, get. That a boy. That a boy. Come here. Kaylin, lap. Good boy. Good boy. Now, a lot of times when I used to be out, I would have money in my hand and I'd drop it on the floor. And lo and behold, there'd be a little kid walk by and he'd grab the quarter and he'd hold it up, and instead of giving it back to me, he'd say, "Thank you, mister, bye," and he'd run away with my quarter. So you know what? Kaylin started picking up my money for me. And that's a very, very difficult task to do because a quarter is so thin. They understand 90 different commands. Kaylin, no, Kaylin down. Kaylin sit. Kaylin stand.
It's amazing how reliable and smart these dogs are, and part of that is contributed to their trainer. They understand 90 different commands. The most wonderful gift is that these dogs are offered free to those who qualify.
I want the public to know that the fact that people can apply for these dogs if they're disabled. They call up Canine Companions, they get an application, they fill it out. Then if they're accepted, they go down for an interview. If they pass the interview, they're put on a waiting list depending upon the category of dog that they apply for. If they're accepted into the program and Canine Companions for Independence finds a match for them with a dog, they're invited to call a team training, which is 2 weeks in Oceanside. And they're given free room and board, full instruction, free food, and they work with the trainers for 2 weeks in a classroom setting and throughout the facility and even outside, and they're taught how to handle the dog. So Canine Companions doesn't just say, "Here's your dog," and you're on your own. They give you the training that you need, plus they have an ongoing assistance. They have graduate programs once a year. You go for a refresher, and if you have any problems, you can always call them up, and they will help you all the time.
And when Kaylin isn't working, he gets to take a load off. Thankfully, he's never too far away.
A lot of times I love hand cycling, riding the bike, and I'll take him with me to the beach, and I'll ride my hand cycle and he'll run at the beach.
We have been hearing about the wonderful trainers of these dogs. They get them from Canine Companions for Independence when they are very young and spend 18 months training them before they are passed over to the lucky person in need of these amazing animals. I met one of those trainers and asked her when she decided to give her time to this great project.
When I was a child, I read a book about guide dogs for the blind and thought that it would be a great thing to someday raise a puppy. And when my son, who is now 16, when he was 8, he nagged me for a dog and he promised to take care of it. And we waited until he was 12 because at that point I thought he'd be responsible to take care of it, and we thought we'd do a canine companion to help somebody.
Hadley is only 18 weeks old and already understands many commands.
Hadley, down. And we work with them with treats and praise. Good boy. Stay down. Okay. Now, don't. Since they aren't allowed to eat food off the ground, say in a food court, if they were with someone who is in a wheelchair, we work with them on a don't command, and we put food around them. And you can see he wants his treats, but he won't eat them because he only takes food from his handler. Hadley, sit. Good boy. Hey, shake. That's my boy. Good puppy.
This puppy is not Lisa's first. She had 3 others that she has trained as she tells us the story.
Hadley is my 4th puppy that I'm raising. I had 1 puppy out of the first 3 make the program, and her name is Clarice, and she's helping a little boy in San Diego gain independence. The dog, that is probably our average for our group, is about 1/3 to 1/4 of the dogs make the program.
This puppy is taught that he does have the time to be a doggy. When he will be taught the command of release, and then the vest is removed and he understands that he can be at ease and maybe even go play or relax.
We don't have an undress command, but we do have a command that allows them to be a puppy again or be a dog, and that's the release command.
What does that look like?
Well, if I took off his vest, he would probably just act more puppyish, but at this point, he's so focused on his training that he pretty much acts the same way.
The trainers are not guaranteed that their dog will be accepted by canine companions for independence. These dogs go through training equivalent to that of a PhD, but not all of them pass all the different tests that prove that they can work in a variety of locations with a variety of unfamiliar people.
The dogs that don't make our program are first offered to the puppy raiser to be raised as a pet dog, and if the puppy raiser chooses not to take the dog as their own, they can place it with someone that they might know that might have a need, but not a need for a trained service animal. And then if they do not keep that animal, then it goes back to the center.
These volunteer puppy trainers seem to have a calling. When they see the results of their year and a half of training shining on the dog, they know they've made a real difference in someone's life.
I plan to continue working with raising puppies for CCI for as long as I'm able to. When a dog is placed in a home, just as my second dog Clarice was, the changes that it makes in a family. The little boy who has autism is in San Diego, and his mother had told me he really doesn't let anybody hear him speak. And after he took Clarice home, he was so excited. He took her to his school for show and tell, and in front of his whole classroom told Clarice to sit and to down. And Mom told me that was the first time that anybody outside of the family had ever heard his voice. So when you make that kind of impact on somebody's life, how can you not love it?
While giving up these dogs after spending 18 months with them might seem like a tough decision for the average person, for these puppy raisers, they equate it to parenting.
The question that I always get is, how can you possibly give these dogs up after you've raised them? And I equate it to being raising a child. If you've ever raised a child, the months that you keep the dog are equivalent to years on a child. So Hadley right now is 4 months old. I equate him to a 4-year-old, so that's why he's behaving the way he is. He's, not behaving quite as well as he should, and he's playing. But your job as a parent is to raise a child to age 18, which we keep them until 18 months, and send them off. And if you've done your job right as a parent, you've given them self-esteem and confidence to go out into the world and go to college and get out and get a job and be a productive person, and that's what we hope for our dogs.
Canine Companions is a nonprofit organization that operates on public donations. You can donate to this organization by going to their website at cci.org. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to go to Torrance Memorial Hospital to see what roles the dogs play there.
Some dogs fetch and roll over. Some dogs take you to Spain and shopping for refrigerators, help you get through grad school, start your own business, go on hikes in the Grand Canyon. Some dogs you trust with your life every day. Being partners with a guide dog is having the freedom to do what you want in life. Nothing more, nothing less. And with your help, nothing need ever change that. Call 1-888-884-DOGS or visit guidedogs.com.
One of my biggest passions in life is animals. That's why I've worked with Morris Animal Foundation for over 40 years. Morris Animal Foundation is a world leader in helping animals live longer, healthier lives. You can too. Just show your support at morrisanimalfoundation.org.
To help cats, dogs, horses, and wildlife live healthier lives, visit morrisanimalfoundation.org, where we are advancing science that will create a healthier tomorrow for animals.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, today we're looking at the importance of service dogs, their trainers, and the impact these four-legged friends made on people. Here at Torrance Memorial Medical Center, there is a great program that brings in outside staff to bring comfort to their patients.
So I get to manage about 900 volunteers here at Torrance Memorial. They are assisting all over the hospital, patients, visitors, and staff, and just providing that extra moment of comfort and care to our patients.
Learning about how this hospital uses dogs in their pet visitation program was amazing. The program began in 1990 and has grown since. Today, they have 26 dogs on the program.
Well, Torrance Memorial feels that our pet visitation program provides a very special service because we see the moments that we capture when the pets round through the hospital. So a hospital can be a very anxious place to be. So if a person is sitting in our surgery waiting room, for example, and a dog comes in, and we first scope out, who might want the visit with the dog, you can see the change in the demeanor of the person. The dog can help lighten the moment, bring some comfort and some cheer in a very serious time for the visitor. And certainly when we visit patients in their rooms, we can see how this helps the healing process to have a visit from a precious dog who brings a moment of cheer to a patient.
If you're considering doing this, there are certain requirements for your dog.
In order to be considered for our program, the dog has to be at least 2 years old and must have certification from a dog obedience course. So that's where the process begins with that expectation.
We got to follow one of these volunteer dogs for the day.
We met Annie, and she was a rescue dog that was found down on the freeway in Long Beach, and we just fell in love with her. And then when we brought her home to our family, we soon discovered that she was incredibly sweet and docile and very loving, and I just thought that we'd been given her, and it was sort of, we needed to share her, and so we started looking into different pet visitation type programs in the community, and then we came across Torrance Memorial.
Hillary has a different type of dog than the ones that are trained for independence. Her dog is trained to give comfort to their patients. There is a very interesting story of why Hillary decided to be part of this program.
Well, for me, I was a very sick child in and out of the hospital with a respiratory disorder. So I spent a lot of my time growing up in the hospital, actually this hospital. So, and I was also an animal lover, always. I had the same dog my entire life, 17 years, a cockapoo like Annie, a white dog named Yankee. And so a lot of my life was sort of finding solace in the dog that I had at home, sort of away from the chaos of the hospital. So that was, I kind of grew up with that. So then once I started my own adult life, I knew I had that passion for helping other sick people, feel better or sort of bring some type of joy to their day. I never had that when I was in the hospital when I was growing up. So I'd sort of coupled my love for helping people with animals, and that's where I found pet visitation. And I found the right dog.
This dog has a trigger which lets her know when she has to go to work.
She's just very smart, as a lot of the pet visitation dogs are. Naturally, but when she sees the blue scarf or she sees me take out the blue jacket, she automatically gets excited. So that's the only trigger that she needs, and she runs to the door with her tail wagging. And I've talked to other pet visitation volunteers, and they say the same thing, that when they see the jacket or the scarf, the dogs get excited and run to the door immediately. And that tells you that she enjoys her time at the hospital too.
To see Annie at work, we followed her as she made her visitations around the hospital.
Good morning, how are you?
Pretty good.
This is Annie.
Better now that Annie's here.
Well, I think you will be. Okay, I'm going to put her up on the bed with you, okay? That's what this is for. Okay, Annie girl, come here.
Oh, Annie. I've seen you.
Have you seen her picture over there?
Each patient we visited had that look of happiness in their eyes when the dog walked into their room. Their whole energy level was that of happiness, almost forgetting their illness.
Oh my, what a comfort. You have no idea what comfort, having been prior owner of a dog too. And the dog was so soft and giving. I think they give too. They know that they can give. And just being able to pet a furry dog again. I mean, I don't have any pets now, and the pet program here is absolutely wonderful.
What do these moments mean to the dog owner? It's what sparks their constant contribution to this important program.
First time I remember coming through with her, you're inexperienced in it, and so everything is just, every moment is so poignant, and so the patients, sometimes they're crying when I'm sitting there with her, sometimes they are a little more aloof and just sort of want to pet and have you leave, and those I've had from the beginning, which were just of sort of amazement and awe of what this animal can do, have stayed with me over the past 3 years. I really treasure the patients that connect with her and they tear up, and that gets them talking about their dog at home or a dog they've had in the past. A lot of times it's older patients, and they'll start talking about dogs they haven't had in decades, and they'll tear up, and it brings them back to their childhood, and it just is so amazing. And I'll sit and talk with them for 15 minutes about their experiences in life, and that's all they needed that day, was that just little moment to take them out of their whatever they're experiencing now, to just bring them back to this happy time in their life. I just watch Annie transform their day.
I was actually pretty depressed today, to be honest, too. And probably, like you said, you're feeling sorry for yourself along the way. But I was going to say, the minute that I saw that dog, my heart just went, hey, that's for me. This is just wonderful. Look what has been presented to me as a gift, really, too, this dog today.
Annie doesn't only bring comfort to the patients in their beds, but also the patients in wheelchairs outside in the hall. And it's thanks to the many volunteers who give so many hours to manage this program. They arrange for the dogs to visit the patients. It's a big job, and it couldn't be done without them.
What we do is we interview prospective dog handler that want to become volunteers and be a part of our pet visitation program. And we have a interview that lasts about 40 minutes for each person and their dog. And we're looking for the combination of good dog, good person to work here at the hospital and volunteer their time.
The 26 volunteers for the pet visitation program meets yearly.
We have a pet visitation log that we have up on the fourth floor where we check in, and there are names there of nurses who have called in and said, I have a patient in room 412 that would like a visit. That's some of the ways that we get our patients, and then others we just go to the floors that we like. There's certain floors here in the hospital that we do not visit, but we have 7 floors, so it works out. So we do find a lot of patients. And even in the lobbies, we get a lot of family members who want to visit because maybe they're waiting to see their patient and they love it and they just think it's great.
If you are interested in being a part of this program, just call the Torrance Memorial Medical Center Volunteer Services at 310-517-4752. Now you have seen man's best friend. A dog that's not just a companion, but a dog who can be trained to do amazing things to help people live independently. I'm Hope Witkowsky, reminding you that knowledge is a powerful tool. Tune in next time for more secrets on successful aging.